Hi, Rajesh.
Hey Usha, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's good to have you here on this call.
Doing very well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So let's start with a introduction. Let me say a little bit about each of us. So my name is Usha Sangam, and I'm a high school teacher. I teach math and computer science. And after my undergrad in electronics engineering and a master's in computer science, I worked in the software development field for 18 years in both technical and computer and in management positions. I homeschooled my daughter through most of her middle and high school, worked at a nonprofit, taught parenting classes, and now my daughter's doing grad studies in mathematics. I was introduced to the art of living in 2012, and then I later became an art of living instructor. And I love what I do with the art of living courses that we teach because I feel like I'm learning every single day when I do that. So, a little bit about Rajesh. Rajesh Agarwal is a startup executive focused in software engineering. He worked at a Fortune 30 company and then decided, after leading lots of teams, over 100 people, in fact, he decided to venture into the land of startups. He joined the startup with the goal of scaling it and to have a greater impact. And he has since been able to help multiple startups by growing the teams and introducing the necessary structure and practices. He lives in the San Francisco Bay Area with his wife and two teenage kids. Now, Rajesh has been meditating for about 13 years and he's been teaching the Sky Breath meditation course for adults for the last 6 years. He's had the opportunity to introduce hundreds of people to meditation. And at each of the places that he's worked, he formed meditation clubs for employees and he introduced the culture of starting every executive meeting with a meditation. How cool is that? He's also a Yoga Alliance accredited yoga teacher from the Shri Shri School of Yoga. So, Rajesh, with that little bit of an introduction, I want to ask you what led you to the art of living in the first place?
Thanks for the intro, Usha. Yeah, so that's a good question. So I grew up in a small town in India, and I always felt there is something more to life. So I decided to pursue engineering, found a job, came to the US, found a pretty good job here, got married, two kids. So whatever I had as a child, all the boxes were checked. And then I realized there is something more to in life. And I tried doing MBA. Luckily, I didn't get into a good school. So that was my uh, way of maybe that's what I was seeking. So when that did not work, um, I tried meditation and I tried different techniques, and somehow they did not click. Maybe I was trying to put more effort. And then, luckily, I stumbled into Art of Living's Sky Breath meditation at that time. And what amazed me was the effortlessness and the depth I experienced, the stillness I experienced after that. So that's how my journey started.
Lovely. You mentioned that luckily you didn't get in. That always there's been similar parallel in my life as well with regard to certain doors closing. How did you feel when that door closed? Did you have any doubts in your mind about how you're going to proceed? This was clearly before Art of Living. Were there any feelings that you had about, oh, what am I going to do next, or were you feeling pretty open to what would come?
Oh, totally. I still remember that day that I felt like the world is falling apart because that was my only thing I had in my mind. But then looking back, I remember a quote from Jillian Michaels. She said, "The bad day for your ego is a good day for your soul." And that has been my experience since then. Then when things don't work out, the universe has a better plan for us, and that has repeated for me several more times after that.
Yeah. So, that's very beautiful that you shared that. That's what I've also found. When a door closes, multiple doors open after that. And we think we know what's best for us, but we don't always know. And in fact, what ends up happening for us sometimes ends up being the best path. Is that what you feel also?
Totally. And I think that's where having that faith, which is very hard at that moment because hindsight is always 2020. as Steve Jobs said, you can only connect the dots looking backward. But having that faith is one thing I've learned. And now, since then, even if I have an obstacle that come my way now, I normally am able to now build on that faith that there is something better in store for me.
So you turn every obstacle into an opportunity
Totally
to
beautifully
grow.
said, Usha.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to ask you about your experiences with the startups that you joined. What made you take that leap from being in a larger company to going to a startup? By then, had you started Art of Living? And did that have anything to do with having the courage to make that leap?
Totally. Actually, so I was in a large company at AT&T for a long time, and I was pretty comfortable. I was pretty close to my home, and but then I was not feeling that I was making an impact. But at the same time, I had a lot of responsibility, and it was a little nerve-wracking, or I was a little nervous to take that jump. But because of the practices I've learned through Art of Living, the sky breath meditation and the other meditation techniques, it allowed me to really listen to my heart. And I realized that I really wanted to do uh, work in a startup because startups allow that agility. You can try different things, you can innovate more. And obviously, that required to go to a different direction. Startups come with a lot of uncertainties. Whereas having had that background of large company, you have that stability, a lot of perks. So yeah, so meditation or art of living gave me two, helped me in two ways. One, to recognize that yes, my heart is into startups. And secondly, it gave me the courage to quit a pretty well cushioned job, a good responsibility, and jump into the unknown world of startups with a break in my job.
That's a step that very, not everybody is able to take. There's a when you have a family and you have kids, by how old were your kids at that time?
Yeah, so I actually my daughter was about 11 years old and my son was 8. So they were like
Right in the middle of the school years,
totally,
and
I had
you have to,
responsibilities to take care of, and then
right,
mortgage
you
and
have
all the
to
other things.
save up for college and all that sort of thing, right? And so
Yep.
then financially you feel responsible for their education and whatnot. So taking that leap must have taken quite a bit of courage. So kudos to you for doing that.
Totally. And I just want to add one more thing that when I quit, I did not have a parachute. I did not have a job lined up. But I figured that the only way, because I was postponing that idea of switching. So I figured that only way to do it was burn my bridges, force myself out of it. So I quit first, took some time off, and then found a job in a startup.
You
And that
believed in
only brought my
yourself.
meditation. Yeah.
Yes. So, why do you think meditation helped you find that courage? What happens with meditation that helps you find that faith in yourself? What does it do for you?
So that's a good question, Usha. In my experience, what happens is, and that's from since we are a child, uh, we are driven by the world. Like we have, when we are born and then we start going to school and we have uh, different like academics, we have exams to write and then other rules to follow. In a way, you can say that, okay, we have different rules to follow. So we're always told what needs to be done. And in my personal case, they overpowered what my heart was aligned to. So maybe the noise was too much and I was more driven by that. What meditation allowed me to spend more time to go within.
Hmm.
And then it became much more clear to me that yes, what I want to do. And that also allows me to serve the external world better now because I feel I'm more aligned to my heart. It allows me to serve the world better than what I did before. In the past, I was more driven or controlled by it. Now I feel that I have the control and yet I can contribute better.
Hmm. You mentioned noise, and that's something that I think many people can relate to. When there is noise in the mind, it's hard to make good decisions. It's hard to find that courage or follow your heart, as you put it, right? when the noise vanishes, and that can happen with meditation because everything becomes quieter, right? The whole world feels quieter when you meditate. And so then you're able to listen to your inner voice and go forward. That's beautiful that you were able to do that then.
Yeah, and I think as Shri Ravi Shankar, the founder of Art of Living, says that we can only see a mirror, like only a calm lake can reflect back.
Beautiful. I love
Right?
that quote. Okay, so you took that leap, you went into the startup, and you made lots of good things happen there. Now you grew a lot of teams, right? Now to grow teams, it takes really good interpersonal skills. Now, do you think meditation had anything to do with growing teams and attracting people to the teams and so on? It takes a lot of work to bring a big team together. How did that help you?
Yeah, overall, I feel in my personal case, in every aspects, different relationships have been transformed as well because of meditation. Even at the work, to motivate, to inspire people, we have to really listen and see where they are, what their potential is, where they want to go. That again requires to have a quieter mind so that we are listening. And most of the time, at least in the past, I was not really listening. Before they say, I was either evaluating, judging, or preparing what I'm going to say. And in that process, I was not really actively listening. Meditation allows me to actively listen and be there, more importantly. To me, in the past, probably there was always an agenda. Okay, how can I get this done? How can we get the result? And that's where I go back to how Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar operates. He's been able to build one of the largest volunteer-based organization in the world because he genuinely cares about each person. And I think that's what I draw my inspiration from, Usha, that if we really are able to show that we care for each team member, they go miles to get things done. And that has allowed me to build high performing teams.
That is so wonderful. It is so true. Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar, he has always talked about leadership as something that happens when you empower everyone to be the best they can be. When you encourage everyone to be the best they can be, each and every human being can shine in their own right as a leader in whatever they're doing. And when people feel they are contributing there and they're taking on responsibilities that they didn't think they were capable of before, that they took on because you believed in them, there's such a beautiful synergy that forms, and you can do wonderful things with that. You said something else that reminded me of a quote from Mother Teresa. You said you used to judge people, and Mother Teresa once said, "When you judge someone, you don't have time to love them." And
Mm,
and
beautiful.
that quote is something that always stuck in my mind as well. And that's what you've done. You've made this transformation into someone. You transformed yourself. Through awareness, right? Through the breathing practices and the meditation, you became more aware. I think in our previous conversation you mentioned this,
Mhm.
of how you were responding to people and maybe judging them, and transform that into someone who is caring and really helping people move forward and shine their own light brightly, right?
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So now let me ask you, um, relationships wise, how do you think beyond the professional front, clearly you made a huge difference. How has meditation and the breathing practices, how have they helped you in all your other relationships as well?
Yeah. Um, I find that meditation has played a significant role in transforming my all my relationships, be it my immediate family members, friends, etc. Even with my kids. Again, I'm able to listen them better. In the past, I was probably a little more, for lack of a better word, dictatorial. Is that the word? Or
Yeah, that's right, dictatorial. Yeah.
dictatorial. Um, to the extent that I kind of knew, okay, and that's where maybe that's where I was operating out of fear. I wanted the best for them, but at the same time, um, I was not slowing down and listening in. And now I feel it's much more democratic in our house. At least we talk through things, issues. That doesn't mean we don't have issues. We still are, at least the communication channel is more open, and they have a say in whatever we decide. Similarly, even with my wife, I'm able to support her better. And similarly with friends also, I feel that I just strive to serve and help more than what I can get out of it.
Hmm. Yeah, the ability to listen, and you talked about listening 2 or 3 times, can only happen when the mind is quiet, isn't it?
Mm.
If the mind is full of noise, like you put it earlier, there is no way we can actually take the time to listen because we're not present. We're in some other part of the mind, we may be in the past or the future, but being in the present moment allows us to completely be with whoever we are. And that's like the best formula for better relationships, right? What do you say?
Absolutely, and I think trying have being a very overly ambitious person, uh, that also made me uh, be a best friend of anxiety. Like anxiety was my best friend because I always had things to do and get things done,
Mm.
and that's where my struggle was with listening. And meditation allowed me to still allows me to actually work, be more productive, get more things done in the past, at the same time be present and listen more.
Yeah. You mentioned anxiety. I know so many people actually can connect with that because a lot of people worry about what's going to happen next. I mean, during the COVID years, especially, so many people were worried about the future, right? Um, so, I mean, I'm thinking about the COVID years, and how do you think meditation helped you during this period that we went through? Did it, previously you used to have anxiety, you mentioned. Did that completely go away during the COVID years?
COVID, honestly, I thought COVID was a great opportunity to grow inward. And I think I actually, I shouldn't say that, it may sound pretty bad, but I enjoyed the time of disconnecting with many things I was caught up in personally and overly stimulated. And I took that time to uh, connect with myself, with the loved ones.
Mm.
So absolutely, had it not been for meditation, I don't think I would have pursued actually started learning guitar and a lot of other things,
Wow.
uh, which is
Better hear
absolutely,
you play the guitar soon.
yeah. I have a guitar. I'm still learning.
Wonderful. You know, it is the attitude towards a situation like the COVID pandemic. Um, I think even just having that faith in our abilities to move through life's ups and downs, and that comes with the stillness in the mind, right? I think for anyone who's practiced meditation, that would have been a lot easier, don't you think, during those
Yes,
years? Yeah.
yeah, and I think we only need to experience it. Like we have to experience. There's a lot of talk about mindfulness. A lot of books are there, and that's where I like what Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar says, that he makes it so easy for us to experience it, and I'm sure you have that experience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about Gurudev, we all know that many of us know that he will be here on May 7th. I'm going to share, I don't know if I can share a flyer on this or not, but I'm going to just read Awaken Your Sixth Sense, A Journey to Your Inner Space. Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar will be in San Jose on May 7th this year. And it is a huge opportunity to discover ancient wisdom that can help us unlock our intuition and tap into higher states of consciousness. And to register, we will post the link to register on the platforms that we're streaming on right now. But if you can write it down, it's aolf.me/ sixth sense, all in letters, SIXTHSENSE. So, Rajesh, what do you think? Are you already signed up for it?
Absolutely. I have done this program in the past, and I highly encourage people to come and experience for themselves. Because, as Gurudev says, we can talk. How would you describe ice cream to an alien? We can't. We'll just ask them to eat. Same goes if you have not meditated or if you don't think meditation has worked for you, I'll highly encourage for you to try and experience it. He makes it so easy, and especially the meditation techniques he's gonna teach are profound, very short, yet you'll get the depth you've never before. So he's highly
I s-
recommended.
Yeah, thanks for putting that, sharing how you felt about it. I definitely feel the same way. I've done this as well and I've signed up. So both of us will be there at the event, and I'm hoping lots of people will join us.
So yeah, don't miss it.
Yes. Thanks so much, Rajesh, for this conversation. It was lovely chatting with you here.
Thanks, Usha. Nice talking to you as well.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.